Today is Monday, December 5th, and I'm here at Emanuel in the conference room with Sue Wilke. And Sue has been gracious enough to be willing to talk about faith in her life. And anyone who knows Sue knows that faith is very strong in her life. So Sue, I'd like to start with asking you just generally what it is that keeps faith so strong in your life.
Well, David, I think that one of the reasons faith is so strong in my life is because I spend most of my life around people of faith. And I think that helps strengthen my faith, especially when we worship together, when we study Scripture together. This helps me to feel that my faith can be strong like theirs, and there's never a time in the day that I don't feel that God is near me.
Has faith always been strong in your life? What are the seeds of that? Where do you think that comes from for you?
When I was a little girl, my father was in the Army, and we moved around a great deal until I was 8 years old. At that time, he ended his service career, and we went to my mother's family in Chico, California, and at that point, I was taken to Sunday school every Sunday that we weren't camping or something like that. And I had some wonderful adult teachers that I believe started me on a road to faith. And I found that I loved Sunday school, I loved the people that went to Sunday school, and I loved God because of that.
You have always been involved with children. Your profession was working with children. How do you see the church, the importance of the church, and how do we get children involved with the church and their faith? How do we do that, and what are we doing right? What do we need to work on in that area?
Well, currently, I think one of our biggest problems is that we don't have a lot of children coming to church. And I know in my own family, I have a daughter-in-law that her attitude is, we're going to let our children decide when they're older. Yet they never take them to church, so I don't know how they will decide. But I do believe that when we do have children at church, just the very fact that we go up to them, we validate their presence there, we let them know that we are glad to see them, that they are loved not only by the congregation, but by God Himself. And I love the way Pastor Lynn teaches the children to pray each Sunday morning at her children's time with them. And then they do get to go out and hear Bible stories. So I think that's starting them on a road to faith.
And many times, Sue, those kids in front and in Sunday school are wiggling around and looking around and crawling around. And we can think, are they hearing anything? Are they?
Yes, I know they are from my own experience. My grandson Blake was about 6 years old, and I had brought him to church almost every Sunday of his life. And he used to sit down on the kneelers and play with quiet toys. And one Sunday the preacher was talking about the Bible story, and he said something about Eve and Adam. And Blake looked at me and said, well, he got that wrong. It's Adam and Eve. So I do know that children listen, even if they don't seem to be.
That's cute. Sue, you have been involved at Emanuel, very involved, for as long as I have known you. And you actually have been a critical person in times of the church when, I don't mean criticizing, what I mean is you've been an important person at times when the church faced some challenges. But tell me about your memories of Emanuel, and what are your best memories of Emanuel? And with that, I guess, what is it that keeps you here? So that's a lot I'm asking you, but let's start with what are your best memories of Emanuel?
Well, I came to Modesto 49 years ago. Because of a bad car accident, I was not able to drive the first year that I lived in town. And because I had been a member of an ALC church in Chico, I went to Calvary Lutheran for the first year. I was able to get a ride there, and it was the ALC church. After I was able to drive again that next summer, I was looking for the post office, and someone said it's near the junior college. And I came over this way and saw Emanuel Lutheran. And I thought, what a beautiful church. I think I will try that on Sunday. I saw that it was an LC a church, and I knew that that was an okay synod. It was similar to the one that I was in. And so the next Sunday I came and I walked into the beautiful sanctuary and saw the stained glass windows and said, "This is where I belong." And so that's what brought me to Emanuel. And then I think there have been some wonderful things that have happened in this church. One thing that comes to mind is when my youngest son was 4.5 and was hit by a car one evening. The church simply took over my life for the next 2 to 3 weeks. People gave us dinners, did the laundry, cleaned the house, came to the hospital and took over for me so I could go home and take a shower or go home and have dinner with my other children and then come back and spend the night. Those are things that are hard to forget. My friend Rue met the ambulance as we came into the hospital, and after we got Adam checked in, she said, "Come with me," and she took me into the restroom and washed all the blood off of me. And I think that sort of exemplifies or explains how the people of Emanuel take care of each other. And so that would be a very important reason for why I'm here. And I have been known to say to pastors that I maybe found difficult to get along with, "This is my church. I'll be here long after you're gone." And I am.
And I liked how when I asked you about the church, the first way you responded was about the people. And the church is the people are the church. So that's a great answer. We don't have much time left, Sue, just a couple of minutes, but I do want to ask you, after we're gone, how would you like to be remembered at Emanuel?
I think if I were remembered as someone who, no matter whether I was called to serve in a position of leadership and out in the open where everybody could see who I was, or whether I was called to wash dishes or sweep floors or do something behind the scenes, that I rejoiced in that job and that I always approached it with a positive attitude, and that I hoped that that showed that my love for God allowed me to do both important leadership jobs and important behind-the-scene jobs.
You have truly been a good and faithful servant, Sue.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for all the work you do in the church. Thank you for your caring and support of people. And thank you for doing this interview.
You're welcome.